is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. 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 The Foundation.
And a quick reminder to say, this coming Friday, and please come over the lawn. You went to see my number one sound round town. And it's a Friday evening, boom, the people have died of working. Lord, them hear the disco playing, boom.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I'm Howard Grant in your company, and this is The Foundation. So happy to have you on a Friday evening. Bim, warm and easy selector. So happy to be here, man. Listen, you know we take it light. We try to make it tight. We want to do it right on Fridays with you as we continue to be able to jam. And let me put this out there before we get into formalities and do these particular things. We're going to open up this space. And if you want to call me down to your little restaurant, your little this or that on Fridays or whatever the case may be, we would love to kind of have a good conversation socially and bring some people in decency and in order in your spot. All right, so if you want to do that, please give me a call, 827-0111. That's my personal line, 827-0111. Or give us a call here at the show, 302-2300. That's 302-2300, that we can be able to do that. Guys, well, it's Friday again. And we're kind of jamming. We're going through. We're having good conversation. I hope that you're enjoying the show. I get some people give me a call and gave me some critiques and say, Howard, you should do this, and Howard, you should do that. I keep trying to be able to give you the format. Like, listen to me. I am not wrong. Amen. But we're going to have good conversations, right? So I know you want me to yuck some people's head off and be strong and this and that, but that has never been me. Right? We can have a socially, conscious conversation and be diplomatic, right? Statesman-like while we talk about these things, because it's never, I told you before, I've always been a big guy. And I've always been kind of indifferent when people talk bad about others, because I know I've been the recipient of this at one point, at a juncture. Talk to me. So let's be very clear. So I've learned to kind of do things in a particular manner, but I'm hoping that we're still emphasizing and still being effective and efficient in the areas that we are. Guys, I'm so happy to be with you today, man. Make sure that you pick up your Guardian newspaper and kind of go through it and just peruse it and see exactly what. Stay up to date with what's going on. And what's going on and continues to kind of pop up in the national discussion and national discourse is illegal immigration. Now, you know that we had Loftus Roko sitting with us on Monday. And he sort of dove into it and touched it just a bit, but we wanted to get more of a sovereign conversation about it and get that kind of a spirit from him, the ideas that existed during that time of development, during that time, that transition, and we had a great conversation. If you didn't have a chance to listen into that, please go back on Guardian Radio, GuardianTalkRadio.com, and look for that under our app, and the information, all the stuff's there is accessible, and you can kind of dive into that. But today we're going to talk about it a little bit more, all right? We're going to talk about it more specifically. And one of the persons that, when we say sovereignty, I don't know, I think his name kind of reigns synonymous with it at this particular point. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we ain't going to fight him. But it reigns synonymous with the idea of sovereignty and who we are as a people, as a nation. And today he's a very, very good friend. He's saying to me before we got on the radio, he said, Howard, I can do this in a little while, right? But I'm so happy to have him here with us. You know him. He's no stranger to Guardian Radio, definitely no stranger to the listening ear for those who are progressive and has a desire to kind of move forward. My very good friend, Adrian Francis. Adrian, my brother, What's happening with you today?
Listen, man, I would thank you so much, and I am happy to have accepted your thoughts on coming here this morning. I want to say good morning to all the Bahamas, Bahamian people, and the thoughts and the proverb about me being dead is greatly exaggerated.
You ain't dead.
It is grossly exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said it in a Shakespearean voice. It's greatly exaggerated. I want to say good morning and thank you to all the persons who follow my life and who follow my thoughts. And I want to say thank you to Guardian Radio for allowing me an opportunity to share some thoughts regarding sovereign Bahamas and a sovereign nation and majority rule and the illegal immigration challenge that we have in our country. I say this to you. I don't know what made you decide that your show should be the foundation. Mm-hmm. And I say this to you in a very, very clear voice, that the greatest challenge we face in our country is not a challenge of sovereignty nor immigration. People believe that immigration is the greatest challenge we have in our country. Mm-hmm. I believe foundation is the greatest challenge we have in our country. The word foundation emanates from the word father. The word father is the word foundation. So the biggest challenge in our country is the father problem. We don't have an immigration problem, we have a father problem. The country lacks fathers. We don't have a political father, we don't have a cultural father, and I'll put it to you, we don't have a spiritual father in our nation.
It's heavy what you're doing.
And so because we don't have the foundation, we could get into it a little bit more, but since we don't have a foundation, since everybody's building their homes, their families in the air without foundation, that's because there's no father in place. There's no cornerstone. There's nobody to give their.
You know what you do? Let me tell you something. I just want to be very clear with you. And for those who are listening, who you may know, it's maybe about 5 or 7 of y'all, and I can show them the text right now. I had 4 names to name the show. 2 was given to me. 2 came out of me. The first one that came for this show was the foundation that came out of me. You would never imagine what the second one was. The cornerstone.
Wow.
You just say it. I just said
wow.
that, and they said, "How would the cornerstone sound a little bit too preachy?" It sounded, but I knew where this was coming from because I slept on it, and I said, "Okay, what is the objective of this? What we're trying to do? Where are we trying to go with the nation?" And this is what it is. And you come right here and get dead preachy, dead quick.
You know, I try my best. For the most part, I'm not. People know me to be a teacher more than a preacher. I literally believe that there are some things that has to be taken into consideration when you're building a nation. God did not start the world with 2 persons. He started the world with 1 person. He started the world with Adam. And so for the most part, that's kind of where we are. I want to thank you. So let me give the show to you, and let's go in the direction that we're led.
Well, I want to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to be able to be a part of the show already. 325-4316, 325-4316. We're going to kind of open up the line today and give you kind of a nominal time, a fair time to kind of get your point out there. And I don't want to take it, over exaggerated and kind of burst it out, really talking about immigration, but let's talk more about sovereignty and take that particular direction. So the numbers again, 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit me up on the text 422-4796, 422-4796. Now in the papers, if you didn't have an opportunity, make sure you pick up your paper. The Guardian, the Nassau Guardian, you can pick it up Friday the 13th. I didn't even look at a good thing coming together, right? Friday the 13th, Harbour Island's migrant woes. North Eleuthera MP says that the problem is worsening. There are growing concerns about the worsening illegal migrant problem on the small, picturesque Harbour Island in Eleuthera, according to the island's officials. North Eleuthera MP Sylvius Petty and Harbour Island Chief Counsel Terence Davis said yesterday residents are becoming increasingly worried. I think that's kind of understated, right? Increasingly worried. We have a serious problem with the migrants coming from the south, Petty said. The government knows of it. We have several plans that we are putting in place. Hopefully, soon, we will be taking some action because it is very troublesome and it is getting out of control. Now, let's have a very clear conversation about the foundation of where this started. We are celebrating our 50th year this year. Leviticus 25 talks to, I just don't want to get preachy with y'all, but me and Adrian right here, we right here, eye to eye. He know where I am, I know where he is. It speaks of the year of Jubilee and the time of Jubilee. Even our preamble speaks almost prophetically about perpetual Jubilee. This is our preamble. And now that we've stepped into our 50th year, it's time for us to take an assessment of where we are and whether or not we've stayed on course with that kind of a vision that had been released by our forefathers, the architects of the nation. And so my question that I have to you, as we start the show off, is whether or not we are on course or have we drifted from the path that was set for us.
The word preamble for us is the mission statement of our nation. That's what the preamble is. No country, no company, no individual should operate life without a mission statement. The preamble of our country, our constitution, is our mission statement. Here's where we're headed. And to answer your question, you have to go back to the mission statement. Why would someone give you as a soldier, they give you a mission? A mission statement was designed if a soldier is AWOL or he's a part of a battalion and they catch him in an area. If he's caught in an area, they'll point a gun at him and ask him, what's your mission? If he can't state what his mission is, then he's automatically an enemy. He's shot. Whenever you know what your mission is, you begin to go down. And so if your company does not have a defined mission, if your life does not have a defined mission, then automatically you're spiraling, but you don't know. There ought to be a mission statement in every home. And that mission statement is memorized at the point of a gun. You know where your family going. We don't stand for this, but we
Tell
go
me
there.
what you're saying. My father had one etched out and carved in wood. As for me and my house, we will serve the
So
Lord.
he took a scripture and he made the scripture his mission.
Yeah.
He has to then pull out from the Holy Spirit, if he's a believer, he has to then pull out what a mission is, not just a scripture, what a mission is for his family. Because you could say, as for me, my house will serve the Lord. That's a scripture. But you can also say, this family will become the educators of our society. They will be university graduates. That's a mission statement. So everything points to that. That's a big picture.
I like this.
And the big picture make all the incremental moments bearable.
I like this.
Whatever you're going through incrementally, the big picture is the thing that keeps you in the hardship. Here's a mission statement. By 2024, I'm going to be an Olympian with a gold medal. And so in 2020, you have a hamstring. The hamstring don't stop you from going to the Olympics. It's an impediment to get you and keep you motivated. I know what the big picture is, and so I'm going to go through this pain to ensure that it's okay. If the Bahamas have a big picture mission statement, a big picture vision, all the things that we talk about, illegal immigration, the transport situation, the potholes in the road, they become bearable if those things make the big picture available. I don't mind going through pothole if I know that you're going to fix it because of the big picture. I don't mind going through illegal immigration if the big picture is such that I'm going to cause for what we're going through now. What is happening is, one, there's no clear big picture. There's no clear vision. And so anything that's clearly defined is easy to follow.
But don't we have a mission? The preamble speaks about where we are.
And so to answer your question, the preamble, I don't think our mission, we have a mission statement, is not being adhered to by anybody who lead us. Give me a statement, Howard. Agitation, activism without answers breed more frustration. I'm an activist. I agitate. But if I don't have answers, I'm only making people more frustrated. People are getting upset because they know and understand, oh, Adrian just told us what the problem is. Now, what's the solution?
But an activist is responsible for that, to agitate, to be able to speak specifically to what those problems are. And how it's structured, how our society is structured, there is an expectation after significant agitation that the government would step in and make the modifications necessary.
Obviously, that's not so. That's not so. You'll never find anywhere agitation and also activism does not breed a legislature, doesn't give birth to legislature. Because if legislatures had answers, most of the countries in the world would not have poverty. Legislations don't have answers. Legislators don't have answers. Government would be perfect if it hadn't been for politics. And so, not because you're a legislator means you have an answer. As a matter of fact, most of us in the country, the answer is taking orders from the question. Most of us, the answer is taking orders from the question. There are no answers. There's no clear, defined understanding that we are following. One of the thoughts in our Constitution says that the people will not be frustrated and suffer deprivation. That's in the preamble.
That's heavy.
That's in the preamble. If you look at most of the Arab nations, their mission statement is very simple: to make our people happy.
It's very simple.
To
One
make-
liner.
To make our people happy. What will cause somebody to be re-elected? Making the people who elected them happy. You go into the preamble.
But have we as a people, and ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a part of this, 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit me up with the text, 422-4796. Now, I just have to be able to get this out there. Has our ethnicity, our exposure, our conditioning, our environment lent us to an understanding that we can move towards happiness, or are we relentlessly in this kind of a mode where we expect more? Because we've been conditioned to move towards government to take care of us. Government can do these particular things. So talk to me about that.
Any government that exists that causes people to believe that a little is plenty is destructive. We've elected governments who made people believe that a little is a lot. That's very frightening. And
And then they put God in it. They say a little is a lot when God is in it. They get preachy with you very quickly.
you know,
And then you look around.
I don't hold.
You still here?
I hold no ill toward persons who have gone through the process of being elected in our country. I realize how difficult it is, one, to be elected, two,
to stay elected.
You know, I'm trying to.
You're trying to be decent. I appreciate you, sir.
I am.
You got your necktie and jacket on today.
People are. I get a lot of calls about, Adrian, what's next for you? I get a lot of those conversations that come to me constantly. Why aren't you? There was a voice note out. I think Richard Johnson, Faxon, something, would have put out a voice note about me and Sovereign Bahamas and why no one is sharing from me on the immigration issue. And one of the things that had happened to me last year, someone tried to destroy me.
Let's be clear, because I didn't get in the text about it.
Yeah.
So talk about it.
Someone tried to destroy me by putting out some things on me. And the interesting thing for me is that, one, whenever there's a leak of anything, the question you have to always ask, who stands to benefit? Obviously not me. So whoever stands to benefit is the person who put it out. But they weren't going after me because I never took it personal. They went after my voice. They went after my voice. God only uses our voices, not our words. Why? He got 66 books. He don't need my words. He need my voice, the voice of one crying in the wilderness. My sheep know my voice. Every time I go in the food shop, I talk, oh, you Adrian. Why? Because people know my voice. People didn't follow Adrian, they followed my voice. They knew that I was serious about what I was doing. So some people wanted a platform that I think I had developed. Hence, whatever transpired. I live with this every day, man. I put on my big boys drawers every time I go outside. Let me tell you why I do. Because once you become a public figure, whatever you say in life is always tested. So I live by that. I live by the fact that if I come in after you, you have a right to come after me. It's a big boy. I grew up on Wolf Road, man. In the heyday of Wolf Road, I grew up on Wolf Road. And so for the most part, it doesn't change the ethics of who I am. You can put out anything on me. It doesn't change who I am. And it never will. I am going to be me. My voice has never been silent. Not even after that. Not even after that.
So you're pulling away, you're distancing from the media, you're distancing from public life and being able to put your voice out there at the forefront? Is it as a result of frustration with the lack of resolve, the lack of reformation, the lack of change and growth in our society? Or is it as a result of this sort of a frustration to say that, hey, listen, so many persons are after me? Talk to me about it.
The one, I don't think I ever pulled back. I do a podcast a couple of times a week. I have not done anything for the year. I do believe, though, that the Bahamian people want more. They want more of the same.
That's what you believe?
They
That
want more.
Bahamian people want more of the exact same thing.
They want. Anytime you decide that you're going to give direction to a nation,
But that's complacency.
it's not complacency.
If you want more of the same thing,
it's compromise.
it's compromise.
It's not complacency. It's
Okay.
compromise.
Okay.
When you compromise a society, the word compromise is two words. Word COM means to come against, and the other word is promise.
Come against the promise.
Something has been promised to you. Anytime you do anything to deactivate that promise, you're destroying your own future. There's a future plan for the Bahamas, right? Let's go back to sovereignty and let's go into this whole notion of illegal immigration for a second. I'm not going to stop being an advocate for a sovereign nation. We selected or elected Philip Brave Davis to run our nation, to lead our nation. I'm Adrian Francis.
We elected. We'll talk about
I'm
that
Adrian
later.
Francis. I have a house. I come home one day and I meet somebody in my yard. I ask the person, I need you to come in my yard, please. The person inside to leave my yard. The next day, he come in. I meet him inside the house. I ask him to leave my house, please. The next day I come in, I meet him sleeping in my bed. Next day I come, I meet him sleeping in my bed.
This ain't your house no more, obviously.
Obviously, he's taking over my house.
Okay, talk to me.
Why? The first time when I met him in my yard, I didn't slap the piss out of him because he ain't supposed to be there. The greatest law in life is the law of access. That's the greatest law in life. Access without authority is breaking and entering. We've allowed access in our country without authority. And what we've basically done is we've allowed people, see, I don't have the arguments people have about this one coming. I'm a principally thinking person. Access without authority is B&E.
I want you to talk more about this because a scripture actually comes in mind that talks about the strong man being bound. I want to talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that we're here having good conversation with my good friend, Adrian Francis. Y'all send the text. In decency and
No,
order.
man,
Listen,
whatever
they
they
are
say-
going to cuss you today.
Listen, let them send the text.
Send the text.
Let them do whatever they need
Give us
to.
a call, 325-4316.
Listen, man.
But don't cuss on the people radio. Howard just reached. Don't call and tell the people to cost me to Let's do things in decency and order. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Foundation with Howard Grant, 96.9 FM radio, sitting here with none other than Adrian Francis, talking about sovereignty, where we are on this laid-back Friday. Guys, we're going to be right back after this.
Foundation.
The
Foundation.
Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef, it's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant and your company. This is The Foundation, and we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Now, popping up in the newspaper today, you'd see the headline talks about what's happening in Harbor Island as migrant woes, and then the North Luther MP that starts to speak about a problem worsening. Now, let me just touch this for 2 seconds, because whilst I don't have direct affiliation and sort of I'm not from Harbor Island, my wife them is Pacetti, and there's only 12 of them in the country, right? And so all of them from Harbor Island, I had an opportunity to be able to visit Harbor Island years ago. And for what I know from my wife and her family, and these stories that they continue to be able to tell me about the Vickim, right?
The Vickim is that's their club, man.
The Vickim, right? I don't even know how to say the Vickim.
As some people say them.
That's a percentage, yeah, right? So they start to tell me about these sort of stories. And when I had an opportunity to really visit it, to see the pink sands, to see the sort of community, to listen to that kind of a Bahamian dialect twisted with some Americanism, right? It's always been a great treat of mine to really be able to engage those persons. But I look at the landscape, this was almost 20 years ago I was there. And the landscape was different. This was like Turks and Caicos. If you've been to Turks and Caicos recently, you're not going to see and hear that kind of authenticity that exists in this particular space. You heard something different.
I am the first island I ever visited outside of Grand Bahama in my life was Harbor Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taken to Harbor Island by the late Peter Giant Bethel, the old member of Parliament. And he was running in that area at the time, and he was like a father to me. I went to Harbor Island and I saw the story. I'm familiar with John Pinder, the member for South Abaco. We have a good relationship. I'm also familiar with the member for North Abaco. I did a live show from Abaco just before Hurricane Dorian. And I could almost dictate it to you, as an atmosphere was in the air, that something was going to eradicate Abaco. The challenge.
This is before.
It's before Dorian. It's about 7 months before Dorian. I did.
So the environment had already been charged.
I did a show in the mud in Abaco, a live show in Abaco. When I did the live show in Abaco, I could tell you something was about to happen. The sin of Abaco had reached the nostrils of God. Nobody wants. I'm just straight up. Ain't too much with me. When I believe something by conviction, I go after it. Dorian came for a reset of Abaco. Anytime something is destroyed, as in the days of Noah, it's always for a reset, a reset, a reset. We never send the dove out to find out whether the lamb is ready for a reset. We built on destruction. We built on sin. And because of that...
So it's no reset?
There's never been a reset in Abaco.
Well,
as a matter of fact, the last election, this upcoming election, is going to go through Abaco. Listen carefully to me, sir. The last election went through Abaco. This election will go through Abaco.
Again.
The reason why it's going to go through Abaco, in 1967, we just celebrated a holiday called Majority Rule. In 1967, we were fighting for majority rule. In 2023, we are fighting to remain Bahamians. In 1967, we were fighting for majority rule. Now we are fighting to remain Bahamians. The greater challenge is, I use the analogy of my house. If a father is not prepared to protect his house, then the children will do whatever they want, or outsiders will do whatever they want to in your space.
Now let's talk about this before you go further, because we're having good conversation today, and this is sort of the direction I'd like to take. if we're talking about transparency, if we're talking about honesty, if we're talking about this sort of rejuvenation, this revival, this opportunity to kind of press reset and start afresh and anew, the question I have is, has the government of the Bahamas, right? We're not talking about any one specific administration. We're talking about the government of the Bahamas. Has the government of the Bahamas been as transparent as they should have been with us about what has transpired in Abaco? We continue to ponder as a society whether or not 50-some people have lost their lives in comparison to the information that came forward. Now, the question I have for you is that if there is to be a true renewing revival, a reset of sorts, and this sort of anticipation to see the next general election go through Abaco, should the government of the Bahamas, this administration, it wasn't involved, they just reached. Should they now take on a position and say, this is our findings, this is where we are, this is where we were, in a desire to be transparent with the people to find a true sense of growth? Talk to me.
If I were to have a conversation with Remwood Bells, and I had this conversation the other night, we had my condolences to Remwood, who lost his father only recently. And we had a conversation for about an hour the other night, my good friend. And I said to him, I don't think Dr. Minnis was a very good leader, nor a prime minister. And I gave him my one reason why.
But you gave everybody 8,000, so what you get?
No, I gave him my one reason why.
Okay.
Today, post his leadership, post his prime ministership, why it'll be in bad conscience for me to ever support Hubert Minnis. I stood next to a trailer where bodies turned to such.
In Abaco.
In Abaco. I stood next to it. And the human remains turned to such.
Mm-hmm.
And it was leaking out of the container. Mm-hmm. Even Idi Amin, as a despot, buried the people he supposedly murdered. We didn't even put the people in the ground. To me, that is gross negligence of a leader in a society. You cannot get worse than that.
But
the reason why they never put them in the ground initially, some would say, well, the people wanted to know, for example, who was in the container. We couldn't find no real. That's not the reason. Because even so, you can't leave the remains there. The bottom line is this, though. Because most of the persons who would have died were Haitians.
Okay.
No priority is put to it.
Okay.
You and I know that Goliath was not born a giant.
No.
He was born a baby. He became a giant. My conviction would tell me that hundreds of people died in Dorian. Hundreds. My conviction would
when we watch on the television and the hurricane sat there, everyone in their right mind consciously in this country who understood and knew about prayer was praying because the thing wouldn't move. And I say, Jesus, God Almighty, how much people lost their lives. I'm talking about record-breaking winds, record-breaking. And my father's brother was there, and the entire country started, all of our family, we say, oh, Lord, Uncle Pipe gone. They found him after a while, he living. But how many persons have lost their lives between Abaco and East Grand Bahama that our government has yet to acknowledge and speak to this particular fact?
The FNM government, for all that they would have done, well, for all that they would have done, period, I believe that they weren't prepared to deal with that monstrosity.
But who is?
Nobody probably was. But here's the thing, though. I think the word that you used was transparent. I don't know how you raise your hand and say, pick me, because the first thing we did as a solution to Dorian and the nakedness of Abaco, we sent boats over. I know Adrian Fox, I sent a boat over. Several persons sent vehicles over. And we brought a lot of persons into New Providence. And when we brought them into New Providence, the persons we brought into New Providence, they came in unregistered. I think at the time, a number that was had, they said was on 3,000 plus persons was brought into New Providence. I got a call from one of the police officers, senior police officer at the time, and they said, please, Adrian, don't take your foot off the gas in this situation. If you bring 3,500 persons into the city unregistered, who's going to monitor where they go?
Listen, we talked about this. I'm be straight with you because I don't know if I presented this to you. We talked about this. Now, I've always been an advocate to the point where I want to be a part of the solutions. So when we were talking about it, and I was here on Guardian Radio during this particular time, when we were talking about it, my company develops apps. I put my whole team together. I say, okay, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a process to identify people, to ban them, to be able to give them a phone, to track them, to do all this. I present the entire thing to the government. I said, this is what we're going to do for you. I lit it out, boom, 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 had all the details in there, was rejected entirely. So my point to you, and I know that if the solutions are in the air and I grab hold to it, I know someone else in this country or others in this country came with ideas to be able to resolve this issue. Our government rejected all entirely and packed the people up in the gym.
Well, how would I say to you that whether they were in the gym or wherever they were, the Seventh Adventist School on Wolf Road, wherever they were, the challenge is this. If persons come into New Providence unregistered into a city that was already overflown for the last 20 years because of the breaking of the economy in Grand Bahama, we were already flooded here in Nassau. So we brought them into the city. We know who came in. We know who registered at Kendall Electric Gym. They were moved from Kendall Electric Gym over to Burnett Road.
Mm-hmm.
We know those who were at Fox Hill.
Mm-hmm.
We know those who were at the Seventh Adventist School, Bahamas Academy. The question is not whether or not we knew who came in after a while, because they had a list of people. Even the persons who was given the mandate to monitor them couldn't tell you when most of them left. Or
How they could tell you?
Where they are. While we were on lockdown, a lot of persons moved to Andros and some moved back to Abaco.
Listen.
While we were on lockdown, the government allowed some persons, the then government allowed some persons to go to Andros and allowed some people to go into Abaco.
Okay.
People ask me, where's your voice in the immigration matter? Take my shirt off and look at my stripes.
Mm.
Take my shirt off and look at my stripes. Someone wanted to be the lead dog in this same fight against immigration. They put out some pictures on me. I was then tired anyhow. I didn't even care. I only wanted to resolve. The reality is I fought tooth and nail to ensure that the Bahamian people was aware. I called one former MP and I said to him, I said, are you aware that Haitians are building shanty towns on the water table in Abaco? The MP said to me, they're not building shanty towns on the water table in Abaco. And Andros, sorry. He said, they're not building shanty towns on the water table in Andros. He said, Andros is a water table.
Mm.
And he educated me. And he said to me, Andros could supply water for the entire Caribbean every day. He said, what you don't understand is that what you are speaking to is an act and not a sovereign. You use the word sovereignty, you use it in a better sense. I then began to understand that one of the greatest sovereign wealth country in the world is the Bahamas. So if you decide tomorrow, Governor of the Bahamas today, to, okay, let's bite the bullet and let's make sure that all the Haitians who are already here, let's make sure they're now legitimized. Let's make sure that, let's put them as part of our society. And you set up a sovereign wealth fund. You set up a national insurance fund. You build bigger schools. Who are you building it for?
Mm-hmm.
Are you building it for them? Or are you building it for the preamble of our Constitution? Are you building it for me?
I see you being decent. You don't want to say us, because there is a stark division, and we've heard this division for a great time in our country. It's more them than us. There's always the them and us, the them and us. Why can't we get to this kind of a commonwealth and an understanding that there is a desire for us to move clearly? Has the government been negligent in its responsibility to identify and almost legitimize.
The member for South Africa is saying that. He's saying it in a diplomatic way. You all better come deal with this.
Yeah, but the
I'm on the
diplomacy-
same team with y'all. I'm in the caucus with y'all. You all better come deal with this out of hand.
The diplomacy has exhausted us because the language must not only be strong, there must be action behind that to resolve these particular issues. Because we can find ourselves in another 50 years. Okay, let me tell you why. And I say this. I say this.
50.
My father was born in Spring City, Abaco. Watch me. His father is from Blue Hills, Turks and Caicos. My grandfather moved from Turks and Caicos to Abaco looking for work. They found work in Abaco. My father was born. They moved to Pinedale, 8 Mile Rock, where they established. The Grand Bahamians during that time would call the Turks Islands Bohogs. Sea grape is known to a great deal of persons of this time as Bohog City. They call it the sea grape now. That's where the dump was. Okay, now let's get into this. The Turks Island people were so elated that Haitians came in and the focus could be shifted from them to now the Haitians. They joined in. Years later, now Turks and Caicos is opening its arm looking for belongers. You can literally get belonger status in Turks and Caicos right now.
Easy.
Just to show you, Grammy had some connections with that. I say, over the next 30 years, let's say over the next 30 years in this country, we're going to find ourselves in the same position, making a plea to the world, to Canada, to America, to find belongers of the Bahamas to come back home for their position.
In 1967, we were fighting for majority rule. In 2023, we are fighting to remain Bahamians.
My God.
In 1967, we fought for majority rule. In 2023, we are now in desperate search of a Bahamian.
I want to talk about this, right? And I want you guys to be a part of the conversation. 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit us up, 422-4796, 422-4796. I want to talk about this because I don't think we have a fear. I don't believe this to be a conversation about a phobia or xenophobia and this kind of an idea of immigrants coming in. I think this is very clear. A conversation that has to do with leadership, a conversation that has to do with illegality and not the enforcement of law, a conversation that says, if we don't prevent this particular thing from happening, what can this kind of explode or mushroom into? We have to have these clear conversations. And I want you to be, I always want to have these conversations sober-minded. I don't want to be able to kind of be salacious and jumping into this idea that, oh my God, all the Haitians coming in. No. Because what persons don't understand is this. I had an opportunity to be able to, I think it was on Fish Fry, and I'm looking at the structure of these women. Now, you know, we could see they're Latin Americans. Let's hit this now. We could see that these women are Latin Americans, but I lived in Cuba. These aren't Cubans. I could look at them, right? I have family from Dominica. These aren't Dominicans. Where are these people from? The little piece of Spanish I know, I got to talk to the woman then, right? Oh, Howard was cutting up with a woman. Stop it. I wasn't cutting up with no woman. I need to know, because I'm looking at them. I lived in Cuba. I know the Mexicans. I know the Puerto Ricans. And these are none of these people. So I asked them, I said, so where are you from? I asked them, where your country from? Where are they from, Adrian?
Colombia.
Venezuela. They are from Venezuela.
Central America is very heavy here now.
Watch me.
Central America.
What's happening in Venezuela right now?
All out. All out
They
unrest.
can't even feed their own children.
All out unrest. Yes, let me say this out. You know, there are two sets of migration in our country. There's social migration and there's economic migration. Several years ago, we waived the visa restriction on Chinese coming into our country. Chinese don't need a visa to come to the Bahamas. After we waived the visa restriction, check all the average Chinese liquor stores or food stores these days.
Boom.
You see young men strung out in front of these stores, right? The grip that China has in our country right now economically speaks volumes. They're the things that we've signed off on with China, right? And then, of course, there's the social migration. Why do people want this space? Because if you want to have a sensible conversation about what's happening, you have to ask yourself the question. Bahamians are going to Canada and the US to live. Why is it everybody wants to come here and we're trying to get out?
Mm-hmm.
And there have to be a common sense conversation about social migration versus economic migration. What do everybody want? You are 30 minutes away from the US, 30 minutes. It's a space conversation. It's a conversation about your space, your geographical location. And when you start to have that conversation, you'll understand that if we extricate or we move all of the Haitians out of Nassau today, then you have a labor problem. Why? People hate me to say this. Adrian, you're running on. Immediately after you move all the Haitians, you have to now go back and retrain the Bahamians on work ethics. And
We need to retrain the Bahamian on work ethics now. We talked about this, and when we get back from the break, I want to touch this some more, because the Blueprint for Change spoke to some specifics in terms of what they're doing as they move towards this. And one of the things I thought should be necessary is customer service. It's understanding how to commune with each other. We have moved away, and we had a show on this. We've moved away from community.
See, I know we're going to break. I'll tell you this much, right? Customer service is a suit and tie method of manners. You put a suit on it, you call it customer service. All it means to have manners. But anyhow, let's go to break.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. We're having a great conversation. I want you to be a part of it. I know that hopefully this is truly edifying you. And if it's getting you to the point where you feel as though you want to call in and you have a strong opinion that opposes, we want to hear that also. 325-4316, 325-4316, or hit us up on the text line, 422-4796. This is the foundation right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM with Howard Grant. Guys, we're going to stick here for the news and be right back after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. Foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Clicking paid merchant service by Fidelity. Accepted credit and debit card, that's the way it should be. Mobile in fixed terminal and online banking too. E-commerce and pay button is waiting for you. Fidelity. 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 We good for you.
2023's first installment of Fish Fry Fridays promises to be a classic. Friday, January 27th, it's a Visage throwback to the days of 601 as former lead vocalist Colin Nasty Boy McDonald reunites with Sean Wild Boy Ferguson and the rest of the Visage Excitement Posse. It all goes down at Margaritaville, downtown Nassau at the 12-Volt Bar. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. $25 entry fee. Or enjoy the Fish Fry Buffet for only $55 before the event and enjoy complimentary access.
Who is it? It's the plumber. I've come to fix this.
Margaritaville, downtown Nassau and Visage presents the special edition of Fish Fry Fridays with special guest Colin McDonald. Friday, January 27th. Fish Friday.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Hey, Parish.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM with Howard Grant right here on the Foundation. So happy that you're in our company on this absolutely beautiful Friday. Started off a little bit wet, but I saw that the sun's coming out. So we know that you got to carry your sweet thing in the can for a little Conch Saturday later on today, if you're definitely doing that. I like to go down to Montague to hail up Barbie them in yellow and make sure we can get something like that. We're having good conversations today, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about sovereignty. And we're not only talking and kind of hampering on this idea of Haitians, but we're talking about illegal immigration and whether or not the makeup of our country will change in due time and due season as a result of lack of administration, lack of enforcement, lack of this kind of a proactive step towards making modifications to grow the country. I'm sitting here in studio with my very good friend, none other than Adrian Francis. Adrian Gibson.
Yeah.
Adrian Gibson is not here. Stop it. Adrian Francis is definitely sitting with us.
My boy, man. Adrian Goodman.
Yeah. He's sitting with us today. Adrian Francis is sitting with us, and you know him to always be one of the outspoken persons as it relates to illegal migration in the country and sort of rectifying that. He's being a leading voice, controversial at times, and persons.
Am I controversial?
Yes, at times you are. Yeah, because there is a social norm, that structure that people move with, and you go against that. So that's only the controversy. Not that what you're saying is wrong, but it's never been said before. And so that's always one of the things that we're doing.
I guess
so we're talking about this, and we're talking about this kind of an idea of the landscape of the country changing. We're talking about this idea that things in due time will shift if we don't do something proactively to ensure that we can rectify that. Now, we've gotten past the point that legislation will not be the answer. So I'd like to know from you, what do you think needs to be the next step we take towards rectifying these things?
Well, the first order of business, if it were me, and I want to say again to legislation has never been the answer, because what a legislator does is he enact laws, he make laws. Legislators make laws.
Mm-hmm.
So what you basically, you put in law on top of law.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do is carry out the law. That's the whole goal. The goal of life is to carry out law.
Mm-hmm.
What did God send Jesus for? Justice. The number one problem in the world is justice. He looked for man to stand the gap for one reason, justice. The only challenge that's lacked in our society is justice.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need more laws.
I came to set the captives free.
Justice. Everything in life is about justice. And so if a woman is mad with her husband because she found that he's sleeping with somebody, she wants justice. She don't think it's fair. So what would I do? If I'm elected prime minister tomorrow and I have to deal with the illegal immigration situation, effective the first day, I will order a mandatory census in our country. With that mandatory census, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give out a national ID card. Not a passport, no other cards, but a national ID card. The census will determine, and everybody will have to go to a particular place, east, west, north, and south, to show their national ID, to pick up and be designed for a national ID card. That gives you an idea of who's in your nation. The minute you find who's here, then you also find who shouldn't be here. That's effective immediately. Once the national ID card is issued, those who don't deserve or who don't have the right to have a national ID card are asked within 14 days or 21 days to leave the country. The first order of business, a national ID card. What a national ID card does, it makes you a part of a growing nation. You decide then exactly who should be here based on legality. If you should not be here, we give you 21 days to leave the country.
Mm-hmm.
I would then increase all enforcements in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you are legal migrant or an illegal migrant, you're going to have to possess an ID card that says that you are here in the Bahamas. That ID card runs through NIB, that runs through driver's license, it runs through any order of business for you to actually live in a society. If you don't have one of those, when the police pull you over for a ticket and you don't have an ID card, thanks for coming. And so immediately what you're doing is you're trying to put order back in your society. The first thing you do, you cannot have effectiveness in your biosphere, the human sphere. You cannot have any kind of success in your geosphere, which is your ground, unless you first clear up the atmosphere. The atmosphere in our country is not right. You could drive from East Street all the way until you get by the airport. And as soon as you pass the airport, the atmosphere is different.
Yeah, it is.
The air is different. Why? Because there's some order in that area. There's chaos in the inner city.
Let me read this
We have
text.
told everybody, Howard, it's time to knock down the shanty towns. Let's knock down the shanty towns. Why? I wouldn't knock them down. Why would I knock down shanty towns? Before you knock down the shanty town, you have to find out who's in it. If you knock them down, they scatter. And so now East Street has become a shanty town. Now the Grove has become a shanty town because culture travels.
And Baintown. Yeah.
And whatever the culture is, the culture travels. And so the culture is now, a shanty town is now some apartments. A shanty town is now some homes that we grew up in that are rented to Haitian and social population. And so you don't knock down what you don't contain.
So we got to identify first.
Identify first. Because when you identify who shouldn't be here, then you move them from society, or you send them back to where they're supposed to be, and then you eradicate and move the derelicts, the derelict homes. And so the first thing you have to do, who's here? We don't even know who's here. Someone could come by boat, get a work permit to work in our country, and they could bring a work permit from Haiti, and we don't even know whether they've been to jail. We have no idea whether they're rapists.
No background check.
There's no
nothing.
real understanding of how you do this.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we have no idea who's in our society.
I think there's an understanding of how you do it, but in terms of enforcement and carrying it out, I think that there's a lazy approach in that.
The challenge is, right? Somebody sent a text. So I have no moral to speak on the things that I do. So I slept with girls in my church.
I'll read that text.
And so listen to me. We're so false and so ignorant. I smile at these things. Let me tell you why I smile, Howard. I accept that from people who hear things and put garment on it. They dress it up. It never happened. Most of the stories you hear, I was a big boy. If I sleep with somebody, I can talk it. Nobody's talked their story more than me. No one. I have never shunned from anything in my life. This is a big boy. And the reason why I have the ability to run my country right now, because I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared of nobody words. I don't care if nobody texts. I don't care what no one say with me. You got to understand, I survived Wolf Road. Everything what you hear now and see now is gravy. I survived that. I survived the cut.
Well, let me send the text out there, the lines out there. I see that the lines are lit up. Guys, 325-4316, 325-4316. Is there another line working now? Right? The 323-6232, right? Is that good? Guys, you can try that line also, 422-4796. I know I've been getting some calls and persons are saying, Howard, the lines aren't working. I've been trying to get in there. You know that we've been having one line and they're making modifications to it today. So forgive me for that, but I'll definitely read your text. It says, Howard, tell Adrian it's great to hear his voice in Guardian. We desperately need his voice on this illegal immigration catastrophe. Let's see if we can be able to read some other stuff. It says, Howard, and this is the one that you talked about.
Yeah.
It says, Howard, you have this guy on your show preaching about morals, and he slept with a young girl in his church. Stop bringing on these hypocrites. Please stop it. I just being able to read these things in transparency. Let's read it some
You
more.
go ahead, man.
So it says, is a good teaching, Mr. Francis. For unto us a child was born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. This is the government that the people are looking for. Let's go further and be able to read a few things. It says, I like what I'm hearing. Both of you gentlemen are intelligent young men. Can you please share with the Bahamians our government's national plan? Sadly, our country does not have one, or should I say, follow the national plan that was created some years ago. That's a text that came through. Let me take a telephone call. Caller, you're on the line with us live. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant.
I'm pleased that the person called who sent the text. I
can't cause the people to call.
I'm saying
if
it.
they won't call, they can call.
I'm saying it. Please call, man. No hide behind a text. Let's be transparent.
Go ahead, call you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Howard.
Hey.
Adrian, good afternoon, both of you.
Hey, good afternoon, man. Good afternoon.
It's always good, Adrian, to hear your voice. And, the irony of this whole thing is no longer than maybe about 3 hours ago, I also got a query, where is Adrian's voice? Adrian disappeared. What happened to Operation Sovereign Bahamas, and so on and so forth. And I had to lay out some things that I think I needed to edify their knowledge, or bring to their knowledge that Adrian is right there. You see, the most dangerous thing people don't understand about persons, it isn't always the people that you hear, the most dangerous thing when it comes down to a war or you have adversaries is when you're doing things unseen and unheard. And some persons are like that. They are now underground. It's more like a termite in wood. You don't know that they're there until you actually see the evidence on the ground, which would be the little dropping. So, as far as Adrian is concerned, his advocacy is well known in this country. I stood shoulder to shoulder with him in one or two stances.
Yes, you did.
And I know where his stance is with this illegal migration in particular, and this Operation Sovereign Bahamas, what it stood for. Let me just close on this one very quick thing. I believe a lot of this stuff, and I said it on not a Facebook, but in a group chat no longer than this morning. We often ask, why is it that we still have this issue of illegal migration in this country? And, not wanting to be reckless with my words, and not wanting to be insensitive with my words, I simply echoed the mere fact what a lot of people are saying on the ground, that this illegal migration operation is an underground operation, and it's being operated by many persons in our society that you would not want to believe is a part of it.
But that has been historically the case. We've known that, and it's always kind of they've levied this idea, allegations, speculations that some part of leadership is responsible for being able to bring those persons here. We've heard that for generations.
Okay, well, this thing stinks. It goes all the way to the top. But, the sad part about this, Howard, is that the Bahamian people who have been talking about this illegal migration, it's like we have the government out here. Many of us talk about the issues, but we also provide solutions to fix the problems.
Yeah.
And, it just saddens me that with all of this information that the average citizen out here is putting into the public domain, hoping that our government will not just talk it, but then sit around the table with a whole lot of these people with these ideas and actually flesh it out, saying that obviously they don't have the wherewithal to bring a solution to the issues that's here. I deputize these people and let these people run with this issue and let them deal with it. I can guarantee you, the majority of organic Bahamians out here, and I'm deliberately using that word, we are sick and tired of the lackluster leadership of this government so far with this migration problem. The past administration and many other administrations beyond this point, we are sick and tired of having to talk about the same thing over and over and over and over, and it seems as if we have not gotten 1 inch to correct in this situation.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's the problem.
Let me say something while we go to the next call.
Jeff, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so very kindly, guys. Give us a call, 325-4316, 323-6232. Hit us up on the text, 422-4796.
On our way to the next call, Howard, this may sound almost controversial again. The reality is we have a former prime minister who was the member of parliament in the micro sense in Abaco for a very long time. And Hubert Alexander Ingram was the prime minister of our country. He was also the member of parliament for North Abaco. The creation of the Mud the P and the expansion of the Mud the P all happened while Mr. Ingram was our prime minister and the member for North Abaco. We have to be careful to not to try to fix history, to cause it to accommodate past leadership. The growth, the expansion of Abaco, the mud, the peat, the farm, and all of that. All the power in our country to create shift and change is in the lap of the Prime Minister of our country. Hubert Ingram, he sat over that. He sat over that. We can be gracious. I saw him at Ruth Miller's funeral the other day. God bless Ruth Miller and Monica and Monica and her grandbaby. He sat over the expansion of the Haitian Foundation in Abaco as Prime Minister and also as the Member of Parliament, micro and macro.
Okay, so whilst we do, a great deal of us could accept that. We know that his responsibility, we know the growth that existed in Abaco during that particular time, but we're here at 2023, at the juncture that we're looking back and trying to figure out where we are as a nation over the past 50 years. And if we're going to continue to be able to beat a dead horse, we're still not going to get anywhere. How do we move forward as a nation, as a people? I want to read a few texts for you. It says, Howard, government needs to deal with this or quit or be fired because threats have been sent to Bahamians. They're bringing illegal guns. They're ready for war with us, breaking out into homes, cars, living free. And is this Bahamians exaggerating, expanding on a particular thing? Is this what you call being able to put garments on something that of no substance?
No,
because the police is not coming to us at the forefront and identifying these things.
There was a story several years ago about boats being stolen from Marlin Marine on East Bay Street, and the boats being found in Haiti. And at the time, it was alleged that the boats were actually being traded for bricks and guns. And anybody who knows what bricks are not the things which you build houses with. Bricks is cocaine. So, but the
but all these are relentless allegations that add and fuel to the fire of our disdain as it relates to immigration or legal immigration.
But how would then ask the question then, right? On which island do we make guns?
We don't make guns.
Okay, so
we don't make cocaine either.
So,
but America identifies
we make no guns here in our country. So, the old question of how do the guns get in, right? My point is, Howard, do your census, right? Let's forget blaming Mr. Ingram. And let's say Papa did what he had to do while he was his time, right? Christie did what he had to do while it was his time. Dr. Minnis did what he had to do while it was his time. Now it's my time. Brave is doing what when it's my time?
This is why my expectation.
The country don't want a prime minister right now, you know. The country don't want a political party. The country wants a movement. They want a revolutionist. They want someone who's revolutionary enough to bring about the effective change we talk about. Can it happen with Brave Davis? Let's give him a chance.
I won't touch this. Let me tell you why.
Let's give him an opportunity to see what he's prepared to do.
The
member for South Abaco said that there's a plan. Let's see what the plan is.
The concept of next and better has to do with succession. The reason why they can attach like a bandwagon or a wagon better to the next is because you are strategically in a position of observation. You can see everything. And when you are next, there is an expectation that you don't carry complacency, that you don't carry contentment, that you don't carry this lackluster approach, but you now build on what you would have seen and become better. That's why I could have said during the time when we see transitioning from former Prime Minister Perry Christie and moving into the then Prime Minister Dr. Minnis, our expectation was that Minnis would have been better because we would have seen what has happened under the former Prime Minister. Our expectation during the time moving from Hubert Ingram into given opportunity to be able to get Perry Christie in that particular position, our expectation was for better, but we have not gotten better up to this point. Why? Why? These are astute politicians.
I don't know what
great
happens.
men.
I don't know what happens, Howard, when I don't know what's in the coffee. I don't know what's in the tea. I don't know what's in the water. The bottom line is from regular public citizen to parliamentarian, from.
I keep saying that. When they step over that threshold, something goes wrong. And we saw it strong and potent with Dr. Dwayne Sands. Watch me. And he and I had a conversation about this during his tenure. When he became the minister who's very formal and being able to provide us information, so forth and so on, as he stepped down, or some of us would like to say he get fired, when he stepped back, and I had an opportunity to be able to interview him on patio politics, and the first thing he says, well, Howard, the people can say, oh, you can talk now, your mouth loose, right? I said, well, that's the first question I would know. Because you didn't provide us this information there. And everyone hides behind this cloak of collective responsibility in the cabinet. But the fact of the matter is that we knew collectively as a community why we gave you an opportunity. There's an expectation.
Why did you give him an opportunity?
I didn't vote for him.
No, the question, why would you have given Dwayne Sands an opportunity?
Because he presented himself in a position, in a passion, in a fashion that he has a desire to see real change and growth in this country. See, you have to give him a chance.
See, my thing, and I hear you, Howard. Here's my challenge with all of that, right? The first thing being, your appetite and your convictions are always at war. And that's every single man. Your convictions and your appetite are always at war. And if your appetite outweighs your conviction, you'll do anything. And the challenge is, if you're going to lead a nation, lead a grouping, lead a people, is always, you have to always weigh the strength of your conviction versus your appetite. What would you do if no one's watching? That's what the texter was trying to tell me about me sleeping with girls in my church. He don't know my convictions. And so he figured I fell to my appetites.
And so to somebody text and say, Howard, why would you read something like that on air? Well,
I told him to.
I just want to be very transparent. I am decent in every aspect. I try to be.
And I'm transparent in everything.
So I just wanted to kind of put this out there because you're not going to listen to the show and say, why did Howard do these particular things?
Yeah.
I know that Adrian has a great deal to offer. I've been listening to him for years. I know him. I know where he is. He and I has done this on various platforms. Adrian, I think you've been on every one of my platforms. We've been having good conversations about where we are
there isn't
as a
anything I
nation.
haven't done. Listen, there isn't any place I could go where people don't know me in this country. So I have nothing to hide about. Zero. I have zero to hide about. Mm-hmm. I show up when I want to show up, when I need to show up. The bottom line is, if your appetite outweighs your conviction, you're walking derelict. And our question when it comes to illegal immigration is, what is the appetite? Is the money for our country more important than the direction of our nation?
What's crazy is that we've been conditioned to be nothing but consumers. That's who we are. This concept of nationalism has gone out of our minds, and we pursue consumption. We want more. And to your point, more of the same. Let's see if we can take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hi, man.
Thank you so much for holding, man. I saw you there. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah, thank you, man. I was saying, boy, this is a cell call, and y'all taking long. But anyhow, Adrian Francis.
Yes, sir.
Man after my own heart, man.
Thank you very much.
Always enjoy hearing you on the airways. And Mr. Grant, seeing you come into your own, man, I think there's no better person to take over behind Mr. McCartney.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you.
But listen, speaking to this national card that you were speaking about, Mr. Francis, I think that national card needs to be in two parts. One, citizenship, and the second part is residency. All right, because we have to be very careful who we are giving citizens to in this nation. You know, because a lot of the people that we are giving citizenship to in this nation, they don't even like us. You know, and their whole agenda is to replace us. You know, because they're not loyal to the Bahamian flag, they're not loyal to the Bahamian Constitution. They're loyal to another constitution and another flag, and they display that every day. So we have to be very careful who we are giving citizenship to. Citizenship is the most valuable, most precious thing you can give any human being in life. Okay? And so you have to make sure that you're giving your citizenship to persons who are deserving of it.
You are so right.
All right? And secondly, with respect to something Mr. Grant had said, that I wanted to respond to too, but you know, it's evading me right now. But you guys are right on target.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Francis. And if you are pushing for that national card, man, you know, people will push with you. And I think we should look at it in two parts: citizenship and residency.
Thank you, my brother. We do appreciate your telephone call.
Let me say thank you, man, to there are any number of persons. When we started Sovereign Bahamas, Christy Brown, Jeff Sands, Lavoine Hannah Road, I have any number of persons, including Ruby Sanders and everybody else who stood with me as the foundation of Sovereign Bahamas. And I want to say thank you to the persons in this country who believe in sovereignty is not a Bahamas or a national issue for countries. Sovereignty came out of God. He said, if any man come up any other way, the same as a thief and a robber. You got to go through Jesus to get in. Jesus is the visa of God. And you need the visa to come into our country. And the mandate of Sovereign Bahamas is very simple: to create a Bahamas the Bahamians to begin to enjoy, and the nation where those who are abroad can return home. That's how simple it is for us. That's our mission.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's take this commercial break right here and get back to the conversation. You know what to do. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316. I think the 325-4259. Give that a shout. Give that a shot, see if it works. But definitely give us a text, 422-4796. We're talking immigration. We're talking national growth. We're talking sovereignty. We're talking all these things. It's supposed to be a light Friday. It's supposed to be a light Friday.
You can't get more light.
How we could get light with Adrian in the house? Ladies and gentlemen.
You want to be light or you want to be lit?
We're going to be lit. My God. The fella told me, Howard, you're a little too heavy to be light. Stop it. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, guys. We're going to take this commercial break and be right back after this.
Brian, look out, very good.
The foundation.
The foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong management team is waiting to serve you. Come and bank with Fidelity too. Come do all of your banking with Fidelity. Quality service is what they give to you and me. A strong management team is waiting to serve you. So bank with Fidelity, we're good for you.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The new Guardian Radio app is here. Listen live to all our Guardian Radio shows and live video stream select programs in our studio. Get information about Guardian Radio shows and our hosts. Send messages, including text, email, and even call. All from our amazing new Guardian Radio app. Download it free today in your App Store for your Apple device or Play Store for your Android device. The all-new and improved Guardian Radio app.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on this absolutely gorgeous Friday afternoon, right here, Friday the 13th. Be decent. Amen. Friday the 13th is an absolutely wonderful thing to have you in our company.
They come on your show. I came on the show. This is the first show I've done like this.
They tell me the devil was going to show. No,
isn't that amazing? This is the first show I've done in a long time, right? And the day I come on the show is Friday the 13th. Listen, I don't believe in those kind of things, of course, because I just believe that my steps are ordered. But Friday the 13th.
It's a peculiar thing, but we're glad that you're here, and I'm really happy to have these conversations. I believe that any day and every day is a time that we can kind of jam. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for tuning into the foundation.
And congratulations.
You can hear it.
Well, congratulations to Juan McCartney, a love of my life, a good friend. I appreciate Juan every now and then. We spar.
Absolutely.
And so all the best to Juan McCartney and to Guardian Radio. I think you're an excellent choice for
I appreciate you,
the revolution and
Hearing it from your talk show fellas, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Listen, I've been asked in 2 other spaces to come back to talk radio, and I think potential is all you can be but haven't been. It's as far as you could go but haven't gone. It's so difficult to go back to what you used to be or used to do, and so I'm just happy that you're doing it, and I think no one do it as well as you do, Howard.
I appreciate you, man. You're a good, decent man. I feel like you're saying that because we're here today.
No,
I'll
man.
take it. I'll take it.
Even your wife has become my good friend. And
praise God.
by the way, congratulations on your baby. I know you're still
You know, hey,
congratulations, man. Congratulations. All that stuff.
You know, I'm every time with a little whisper. Bam!
Bam.
Praise God, right?
Bam on a Friday.
We're in the Bam season. Blessings and miracles. Amen, right? Let me read a few texts, guys. Please give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Or hit me up on the text 422-4796. This country was on a downward spiral from 67. I don't care what no one says. And these are some texts that's coming through. It says these illegals are getting jobs in the village road, and now they are breaking into homes and cars and all over the village road. I talk to them and drive there every day. What country can you come to illegally and just move in with $400,000 home for free? Turn on the light for free and live in the house and pay the house for free. You know what? I feel like this is wild that you take 5 cents to text this, because do you have any concrete information that this is so? You understand what I'm saying? We can't use this space just to be able to kind of air your grievances with illegal migrants or migrants entirely. When we're here, I just want to be able to be transparent, to talk about actual things, factual things, and talk about resolutions. So let's be able to do that. Let me see if I can read a couple texts more. So it says, Adrian, I disagree with you. Bahamians don't accept what Haitians will tolerate just for money. We not only need to enforce our current laws, or the MPs need to create or revise the laws to have effective control of the menacing illegal migration problem.
I'm not sure what they disagree with, though.
I don't know, right? This was early on, so I just reading the text now.
I'm not sure. Contextually, I may have said something that's averse to what they believe.
See, look at the preamble. Howard, there are also rumors. See that? That's the preamble. Howard, there are also rumors that many of the Haitian men illegally coming into the country are Haitian military. So we need to deal with this. Why are we fanning the flames of xenophobia without facts?
First of all, here's the thing, right? You would call it fanning the flames of xenophobia, right? And because you would consider it fanning the flame. The challenge is, right, that text may be right, and that may have to be fact checked. But here's the challenge, Howard. Do you believe everybody who's coming in were doctors, lawyers, menial workers? See, whether or not you believe it, if 100 comes in, first of all, I believe this to be a fact, working at ZNS back in the day. I believe our oceans are cemeteries of Haitian bodies.
Our oceans are cemeteries for black bodies.
Listen carefully,
Point blank.
And I want you to believe this. If 150 persons leave out of Haiti on a sloop, if 50 persons leave out on a sloop, what guarantee you that 50 persons will arrive? The challenge we have is we have to stop taking this, even also as an illegal immigration situation, is a human smuggling situation to the detriment of valuable human beings out of Haiti. And we have to stop believing that these persons who come from Haiti have no value. This is human smuggling at the highest order. You have to tell this to the United Nations, because their whole objective is this. Everybody should have open borders, and we ought to take them in and take care of them. If you don't believe in human smuggling to America or to other nations, why should the Bahamas have their arms open in human smuggling? They're selling kidneys all around the world in human smuggling. Why do we think...
But that's not happening here. Watch me.
Listen, sir. I said all over the world.
Okay.
The challenge we have is, when it comes to human smuggling and all the things that go with it, the sex trade, the drug trade, all the stuff that go with it, we have to be ever so mindful that the space that's been given us by Almighty God, the ocean space, is vulnerable to anything that can happen. And so when someone says that the military could be here, former Haitian military, I don't know it to be true. but I would not dismiss it. And I would not dismiss it summarily simply because it sounds like you found flame or xenophobia. That is not so. You have to make people aware. Doesn't mean that to focus on it, but they must become aware of what the possibilities are. Don't wait until you are shot because somebody says there's a lot of robbery going on in the East.
I want to talk about this. I want to touch this like this. And let's get into it, guys. I see your telephone calls, but let me get this out. Human smuggling, for the most part, that we know of, has to do with a non-willing participant. And this is for the most part. For what we know historically, foundationally about human smuggling, willing participants that pay to come here aren't the ones that we can label as human smugglers. If you are a willing participant and you're paying to move from what you consider to be tribulation in your space to paradise in our space, I don't know if I could put the label of human smuggling
Okay, so Ola, I hear
over
you.
your head.
I hear you. So let's talk about it. So if someone is actually coming to the Bahamas, right, willingly and paying a price for it, how are they coming? By air? By boat? By boat? Are they being smuggled in?
Yeah.
Are they humans?
So you're going to get technical with me?
No, this isn't technical. This is simple.
Yeah.
This is very, very simple.
They're humans.
They're human. Are they being smuggled in?
Yeah, they are.
So what's that called? Human smuggling.
Yeah, but when you take it and transition into an idea for sex trade, an idea for organ harvesting.
Because it comprises more than that. Human smuggling comprises more than that. And so you could contract the definition so that you could be exact in some terms. You have no idea whether or not that happens in this regard also.
I agree with you. We don't.
We have no idea whether it happens. You don't know whether or not. I interviewed, in my company, we interviewed a young lady the other day. And she said to me, she's of Haitian descent. She don't have documents yet, but she's looking for a job. She comes in, I interviewed her. She says to me, she lived with her aunt. I said, okay, is your aunt your mother's sister or your father's sister? Well, she ain't really an aunt.
You just call her auntie.
We call her auntie.
Yeah, they're Haitians, but they still Caribbean people. We used to honestly do the same.
No, that's not the same. Here's the difference. She needed someone qualified.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
To give her qualified documents. So the person then becomes her auntie. The challenge is, how do you know that the persons who are schooled in our country are their parents? Call the school system and they will tell you that every now and then they have children who come through the school system who have to go through affidavits to justify that the person who are registering them are their parents. We have a major challenge in our country. And the children who are now of Asian descent, I would listen to me, sir. They're being born here and feel as if they have no privilege nor rights to be here. And so that's a civil war that's brewing. They feel...
Ooh, Adrian, this is heavy what you're saying. When you say things like this, you know I got to push back on that. It's a civil war that is brewing.
You don't think something is tinkering in this nation?
Adrian, I do not believe...
You don't think something is tinkering the extent to which...
No.
You hear the concern of the Bahamian people. Do you believe that the Bahamian people are going to sit back and continue allow?
Yes.
They just can sit back and allow
yes.
it.
Yes. Bahamian people have proven to us.
I take back.
Over time and generation. Watch me.
I take back. By conviction, I believe that there's a civil unrest brewing in our country.
Okay.
I take back.
I like this.
I take back that there's civil war.
Okay.
But I put it out there to all Bahamians to be aware.
Let's read this. So it says, Dwayne Sands and Minnis was working at the hospital for over 30 years each. Yet, they didn't transform it or the medical field. Never vote for Sands again. Terrible. This is a text that's coming through, guys. Make sure that we read that. Obtaining land is the most precious thing that one can own. For more Haitians and foreigners to own land over Bahamians is a sin, especially people who don't like or care about the Bahamians. God, or our heritage land status, is being lost, depleted, and destroyed. These are texts that are coming through. Please send your text 422-4796, 422-4796. America has the same illegal immigration problem as the Bahamas, perhaps worse than ours. The beneficiaries are politicians. Their objective being voters, right? Let's see if we can read some more. It says, sir, the immigration problem is more complex than we want to acknowledge. When Haitian women were having babies, like, oh my God, I'm not going to read the rest of this because the analogies are too strong. And we are on national radio. At least we could introduce a sense of decency. So it says, Howard, civil war, said Howard, it is a brewing civil war. I do not believe that. I do believe that there is significant unrest. I do believe that there is an expectation for transformation. I do believe that a great deal of Bahamians are becoming activated in terms of their voice and lending it to the national discussion. I believe that more Bahamians are getting involved as it relates to being able to move towards leadership, to find a resolution that lives within themselves. But I do not believe that we can be out here fighting people. Let's take a telephone call. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Adrian and you guys are doing a good job. I appreciate it. I see what Adrian is saying, but I'd like to look at it from expand his perception from to a more of a globalist view. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that there's a globalist movement with regards to immigration. Because remember, about 3 or 4 years ago, it happened in Europe. And there are transnational organizations that are benefiting immensely from these money through these are NGOs, and they're benefiting through various liberal governments around the world that are supporting this. So you remember Italy had to basically blockade the Adrian Sea to keep these people from coming into the country. Mm-hmm. So we have a major problem because we're a smaller country. So that means that it's much worse for us, and the impact would be far more devastating for Bahamians, us as a nationality. And as I see it, the governments, both governments, FNM and PLP. I'm not even sure we had a Bahamian prime minister thus far, but there's when you look at what is going on, they both parties come in, they essentially they do window washing for Bahamians. They go round up a few Haitians here and there to keep Bahamians happy, and we settle for that. But you got to look at a bigger picture. These people are here; they are multiplying, and they're breeding out our culture. So as Bahamians, I think we are, and as a legacy for our children, I think we need to try to maintain this thing as much as we can. But again, look at what's happening in the United States. There are liberal governments around the world. What's happening in the United States is not an accident. There are many liberal governments around the world that was trying to destroy the economy during the COVID virus. That's so we need to be very cognizant of that and not follow suit. I notice our prime ministers, all of them have been essentially very liberal. When you look at this perspective from the United States, they're very liberal. They want to give everybody everything. That's not the way to grow a country, So that's my contribution.
Wow. I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. Thank you so very kindly for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a part of that, 325. You got 30 seconds when you come because we got 10 minutes to get out of here. 323-6232, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 422-4796. Agent, I'll throw it to you.
I think he's right. I think our keys, we've made some concessions to all the cruise liners here that come here. You can own a key. People come here and we don't even know who all own our keys. There's economic migration. There's also social migration. And we put the heavy emphasis on the Haitians who are here because they've become a social burden. Nevertheless, though, we have to be very cognizant that economic migration and social migration go together. We cannot afford in the country at this time to take care of two nations in one. Mm-hmm. And we cannot afford to allow the Chinese to be the masters of our economy. Mm. And so we cannot keep begging. You got the land, you have the geographical location, be the visionaries of the destiny God has given you. The Chinese are not here to become our government. Be careful. Remember the golden rule. He who has the gold, they make the rules. Mm-hmm. And so anytime you start taking money from the Chinese, you start taking money from the Russians, you start taking money from all these different people, The question you have to ask yourself, what do they want? You know, we gave away the piece of land on the western tip of PI, and that caused a major controversy. The cruise ship that got that land under the last administration, they didn't want to buy the old Derelict Hotel. They wanted that piece of land. The piece of land was more important. We have to understand sovereignty. If we're going to be a sovereign nation, we're going to have to practice the principles for our direction.
Let me read a couple more texts. It says, Howard, here's why our country is being overtaken by illegals. Because we try to be too politically correct and we use condescending words like xenophobia when Bahamians are pointing to the obvious and possible serious repercussions of mass illegal and cultural invasion. I believe that there is a cultural invasion. I do believe that. Right? I do believe that there is mass illegals. I do believe that. But when we start to talk about civil wars and stuff like that, I think that's strong language. I want to read another text. It says, Howard, be real. I know there is a civil war brewing. Haitians are sending threats on Facebook. There was an army of Haitians training on the quay in Abaco. Also, facts. Send me the thing, 827-0111. I need to see this. You can have me out here saying these things, and I don't know nothing about that. And I always watching Adrian things. I never see that. So let's put that out there. All right, let's see if we can do that. So it said, dear sir, civil wars between citizens. What's brewing is a good old-fashioned ethnic cleansing. Crazy. This is bananas.
That's a very strong statement.
That's bananas. Why is our language, I won't touch this because we got to get out of here in a few seconds. Why is our language so strong when it comes to illegal migrants or migrants entirely, more specifically Haitians? But when we're seeing death upon death upon death every day in our country, people getting shot down in the road like dogs, we are very flippant in our approach and say, well, you know what, they're just cleaning themselves, all them in gang, these children in gang. Why? When we could see the nation, we could see you as a Rowell, we could see you as a Smith, we could see that you have heritage here and we're losing you to the streets. But we ain't see nobody uprising about that. But when we start having a conversation about illegal migrants, everybody won't be able to jump into that. Talk to me about it.
Ethnic cleansing is a very strong term. And I believe that we're not trying to separate ourselves from anybody. Obviously, there's a right. You cannot come through the back door, Howard. And listen carefully, sir. You cannot come through the back door and expect front door benefits. I believe that's the language of the Bahamian people. I speak it in a different way because I'm very exact about it. You cannot come through the back door and expect front door benefits. You can't come here on a 3-day vacation and 3 months later you're still here trying to get work permit. You can't come here to hear Auntie Sue and then 6 years later, Auntie Sue then dead, but you still here? Mm-hmm. Something is wrong with that. There's no wrong way to do a right thing. And that's the easy principle. Let me just say this. There's a place for activism in our country. There's a place where persons have the right to speak to critical issues that are happening in our nation. Does it mean that I am anti the government? No. It means that every now and then the government people must be held to the fire when it comes to critical issues in our nation. And whatever it takes to make the government or governments cognizant of the fundamental direction for our country, there's a place for Adrian Francis. Whether you think whatever you think about him, there's a place for Lincoln Bain. No matter what anyone think about him, there's a place for all the activists, Candy, Foam. There's a place for persons who are holding the torch, the banner for some things that's happening. There's a place. We have to be respectful in our place. We have to be cordial in our place, but at the same time, I believe that the country is requiring and demanding. I think Warren McCartney got tired. This is very tiring. Every day, receiving calls, taking on issues about what's going on in the country. People say they haven't heard my voice. Richard Johnson, whoever he is, Fox and whatever. They don't take into consideration how I was tired. And even after all the fight for Atlantis, the fight for all the people, they still lie on me. And so what do? You have to stop, take a deep breath. My mom is 75, God bless Dolores Williams. I got to take care of my family too. At some point, you can put all your energies out. There's a very thin line, Howard, between praising him and crucifying him. In one breath, they praise you, and the next breath, they crucify you. The road between praise and crucifixion is called human nature. I'm mature enough to learn human nature. I don't take much things personal. And because I don't take much things personal, that's the growth of my maturity. You can tell a person is mature when they stop taking every little thing personal. That's how you get to lead people. That's how you get to carry much. You know, go ahead, buddy.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being able to sit with us, and I'm listening to you, and I'm very appreciative for the conversation. And somebody texted and said, Howard, you knew this conversation was going to go far left. No, I've always engaged Adrian.
Did it go far left?
No, I don't think it did. I think we were on point.
Wow.
And we had a very good conversation. And I want to thank you for that, the contribution. All those persons who text, it says, my father used to tell me, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Hence, the chaos, disorder, lack of progression, and the substandard life for Bahamians. Let's put together a super plan to take over our country into a new, better future. These are some texts that come through, and I want to thank you so much for being able to text.
Howard, guys, Grifter is being held here in the Bahamas April of this year. I'm a part of the team that putting together the LOC with Lyndon Maycock and Val and the rest of our team.
Well, you're going to come back and talk about it.
Yeah, but the 50th anniversary of Grifter is in April. We want everybody to be aware, to be preparing. All the things regarding the 50th anniversary, please keep your ear open, man. Let's be Bahamians and let's support all the things that's happening.
I want to say this before we get out of here, and I want to thank you so much for being able to tune in with us today, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being able to participate in the conversation on a day-to-day basis. I cannot take any more of your calls, but I want to say this. As it relates to exhaustion, I am recognize that our feeble bodies, sometimes, especially with the fact that we've seen so many things happening externally, and we're seeing movement around us, and we want to know where our progression is, where our peace is, where is our place of contentment that we can sort of drift and just, reap the benefits thereof. I believe that we are, this is me, I believe that we are vessels designed strategically and specifically and placed where we were supposed to be to release the thing that's in us. I believe that Juan McCartney in his particular capacity did what he was supposed to do.
Yes.
I believe that he ran his leg.
Yes.
And I want to be able to take the time out. And as long as the Father has me here, I give him praise for the opportunity. And no matter how exhausted I am, I will continue to be able to pour in just the way that Juan did. And I pray that the Father continues to be able to pour into me as we move forward. Just like you, Adrian. I know that the Father has called you strategically to do what you do. Do it well. You can get your crown at the end of this, no matter the tribulation you go through.
Yeah, man.
But we must stay steadfast on our missions. If you're out there, ladies and gentlemen, and you're feeling weak, strengthen yourself in the Lord.
Candia Dames.
And let's make some things happen.
Thank you so much for what you do every day, Candia. Dwight Strong. Those are good friends. And I want to thank God for Guardian Radio and the role that it has played in helping to develop the consciousness in our nation, the subjects that they bring, and even allowing Howard the space to carry God's endeavor in his life. I pray for you, my friend, and I thank God that this is an excellent opportunity for you and for your family.
I thank you, my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in with us. 96.9 FM radio, The Foundation with Howard Graham. We'll be back on Monday. Stick and stay for Z Live with Chicago Lang right after this.
Guys, thank you so much.
Foundation.
Here we go.
J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protected since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You'll always cover me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Fidelity is concerned about your financial health as much as we're concerned about your physical health. We have free online banking, helpful management staff. Come and start your relationship today. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.